back to Jen's Diary. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. We talk about fashion, lifestyle, experiences, and a lot of other things that are exciting and necessary as far as I'm concerned to discuss. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from some of our other videos. I was just reflecting as I'm approaching my wedding anniversary on some of the things that I wish I knew when I was planning my wedding. So if you're planning to get married, if you are planning a wedding celebration, whether it is big or small, or if you're a part of someone who is close to you who is planning a wedding, stick around so that we can talk about 10 things I wish I knew when I was planning my wedding. So stick around and let's talk about it. So tip number 1, be sure to be real with yourself. If you are the bride or the groom for that matter, and you're thinking about what you want your wedding to be, whether it is a very large ceremony or if it's small, if you're going to elope, if it's going to be in a church, if it's going to be a destination wedding, be real with yourself, because no matter what you choose, you will likely go through the stages of wishing you did the other way. So if you're like me, where my husband and I decided we wanted a medium-sized wedding, but we decided we did not want it in either of our home churches. We wanted to have something that was destination, so to speak, and we also wanted it to be somewhere where there was a view of water. And we also wanted it to be outdoors with a view of water. And so we really did take the time to really talk through what we wanted, why we wanted it. And again, when I'm thinking of the why, when you're looking at an outdoors option such as a winery where there's a lot of greenery, I knew that I have horrible, unpredictable allergies, and so I didn't want to be in a situation where it was just horrible allergy season. And as beautiful as it is to be in a winery, as many of you know, I didn't want to be the bride that is like itchy nose, itchy eyes, red eyes, and just miserable on such a magical and special day. So I really did have to be real with myself in that. And so because both my husband and I love the water, we really did decide on a place that had a beautiful view of the ocean. And so we were married in Monterey at a hotel really most of the hotels there all have this view, but it was spectacular. And so again, that is the first tip, to be real with yourself, to really think about what is most meaningful to you and your spouse, your significant other, because this is hopefully the one and done experience for you both. So you want to be clear on if you want to just elope, if you want to go to your church, or if you want to do something that is more destination and outdoors. The second tip here is to be very thoughtful when you're thinking about your bridal party. The folks who are going to be a part of your bridal party really should be people that have the less amount of risk for drama and that are helpful. I cannot stress that enough. Oftentimes we just select people that are close to us, that are in our immediate circle, people we grew up with, people that we've traveled with or that we party with or whatever, or we take the pressure from family that say, well, family sticks together. Of course you're going to have all of your cousins in your bridal party. And that is not what I would recommend. I would really recommend that you really think about those folks that are going to be a part of this group of individuals that are really supposed to be in place to be helpful to you, to help minimize your stress as you're planning this very important and stressful day. You want people that are thinking ahead of the things that will come up, to help get things moving forward, to keep you on track with your plans. That's really what you want to look for. And I can't stress that enough when you're thinking about your best man and your maid of honor, your matron of honor. See, allergies are bothering me right now. Interesting. But anyway, you want to make sure that you're thinking of people who will again be helpful to you. You want those individuals to think outside of the box, to make sure that they're staying in contact with you, that they're moving things forward even within the bridal party, because you don't want a bridal party that are constantly pinging you, bugging you, getting you anxious about, you know, their progress, the things that they're trying to plan and move forward. If it's your bridal shower, if it's the bachelorette or bachelor party, you don't want them constantly pinging you on, well, this person hasn't responded on the party and I don't really know them that well, you know, this is your friend and they aren't responsive, or they have ideas that I don't like and others don't like, and we're just kind of going back and forth. You want them to work that out amongst themselves. That is the least and should be the least of your concerns, what they're focused on around these other activities that they're planning for you. So again, you want to make sure that you do really take the time to be thoughtful in the individuals that you are selecting to be a part of that party, because again, you want them to be proactive, you want them to be, you know, on top of things, responsive, work well together, collaborative. You want them to really be a group that you know and trust are handling things on the back end, but then also are making themselves available to check in with you to see how they can help. So if you are, for instance, a DIY couple and you want to make your own invitations, something that I did, and while I got into it, didn't realize just how much time and energy and effort it was going to take to get this done. It was helpful to have a couple individuals in my bridal party that just hit me up and say, hey Jen, I'm gonna come over this weekend so that I can help you. Because those things are really, really valuable and invaluable when you're thinking about how you're preparing for this special day. You really want to know that you have people that are going to prioritize you to make themselves available to help you get things done. And when I'm thinking about that, especially even on the day of, you want to make sure that you have a bridal party, and in particular your maid of honor and your best man, that they're making sure things are happening as they should. And so if that's helping to pin up your dress, helping to, you know, if they notice maybe your aunt and uncle are, you know, standing over socializing when we need them to get into this family picture, you want them to be your eyes and ears helping to move things forward. Even checking to make sure if you're taking pictures, for instance, with your now spouse, you want your bridal party standing there to say, oh, your earring is crooked, or your headpiece is crooked, or let me help move your dress along. You just want people that are thinking of the little things to kind of try to move things forward. I can give you a couple examples. So I had assigned 2 maids of honors because my husband had 2 best men. And through the process, there was just a lot of, I was constantly getting pinged from people in the wedding party saying, well, we haven't heard anything, you know, any updates on your bridal shower. And it was starting to stress me out because I was focused on, you know, the big ticket items. The flowers were a pain to get them sorted out because at our venue, there were no artificial flowers allowed. And my favorite flower is a particular orchid, was out of season. And so figuring out how to get my orchids. So it was just I just had other things that I was focused on, and I did not have the time or energy to focus on if the bridal party is figuring out this bridal shower they're putting together. And so I had one member of the bridal party who just suggested or asked, they were like, can I have a bigger role in this party to move things forward? And I was like, please just talk to the rest of them, figure it out. I do not want to hear about this or be involved. And so it was this other person who was just a bridesmaid that really took the initiative to step up and say, let me help to move things forward and get things done. And so my bridal shower was amazing, but this person also was really instrumental throughout the process for the rehearsal dinner, also the day of moving things forward. So this individual, knows my family very well, so was able to say, oh, your aunt is over here. We need to move her over here to be a part of this picture. There was an issue where we had our photographer was using a drone, and some of the patrons in this outdoors restaurant, which was near our ceremony, was complaining about the drone hovering over them. And so this bridesmaid went over and had a conversation to iron this out. And I wasn't even aware of this, in the day, because during your day, you do not want to have people coming to you with their issues. You want to be present in the moment. And so this individual, as I mentioned, was not originally assigned as a maid of honor, but really did take the initiative to help to move things forward. And I cannot stress how pivotal it was in the work that she did to move things forward. And it's not a personal thing. I love dearly everyone who's a part of my bridal party, but again, it's really just about the people who are helpful. And some people just, they don't really know what to do. Maybe they've not experienced being a part of a wedding before, or they're not married yet, or whatever it is. It definitely doesn't mean that it's intentional for them to not be as helpful as you need, because you won't really know what you need until you're in the moment. But you just really do need people who do kind of step up to get things done. So that is a huge, huge tip that I would encourage you to think about when you're thinking about your wedding party. Number 3 on our list, do not skip your trials. I will repeat, do not skip your trials. So when you're thinking of your photographer, your DJ, all of these different consultants and vendors that you will be using for your special day, do not skip an opportunity to have a trial. So I will give you a couple examples. For our DJ, I decided that photography was one of the specific areas that I was willing for us to splurge, because I am someone who really enjoys pictures. I always have, and those are those real memories that you can look back and you want to make sure that your photos are stellar. And so that was the area I was really focused. I spent a lot of time researching the photographer that I wanted, as well as the videographer. And so I spent a lot of focus there, and I told myself, a DJ, how hard is it to find a DJ? You just send them your playlist and make sure that at least they have this list of songs that you must have, and then they can kind of fill in wherever else with similar songs. So the DJ, I was just like, that is an afterthought. I'll wait until the very end to just figure that out. Huge mistake. I found the DJ some way going through this process. Someone mentioned this website, which I believe is called Thumbtack, I believe. I'll insert it if that's what it is. I will go back to remind myself. But someone mentioned Thumbtack, went there, and it was like, whatever you need. It's kind of like Craigslist. We have all these different options for whatever you're looking for. If it's a plumber, if it's a photographer, if it's a DJ, whatever it is. And so I went on Thumbtack and found a DJ, and what I did was decide to look for a DJ with the most reviews. And so found this one DJ, and I was like, yes, this person is gonna get it. They have hundreds of positive reviews, so this is a no-brainer. So contacted the DJ, also worked back and forth. The communication was not amazing, but again, I'm thinking, it's a DJ. How hard can this be? And so I sent my list of all the songs that I wanted, and this was something that I spent a lot of time putting together. I come from a musical background, and so I always just have songs in mind that take me back to different places. And so I had this list put together, shared it with the DJ, thought it would be a no-brainer. The DJ was the single most just top regret for my entire wedding. And it was because I soon discovered that this person was not prepared. This person likely purchased their reviews, because it's no way this person would have hundreds and hundreds of positive 5-star reviews without purchasing them, now that I was thinking about it. Because this DJ played the wrong song when I was walking down the aisle, constantly was playing the wrong song throughout the ceremony. And then when it came time for the actual reception, this individual was playing songs from YouTube, because the ads were also playing the commercials in between. This person didn't even have premium, so that there are no ads, right? It was the worst. And so one of the best men actually has a DJ background and had to go over and say, listen, you need to just play the songs from my phone at this point, because this is horrible. So that was a reminder that if you have an opportunity to select a DJ, just go to an event that they're going to be playing at, so that you can get a real good understanding of their vibe and their style, to make sure that it's what you want and need. So always take up the opportunity to do a trial. The same I would say for makeup. So this is my second example here. So I had my makeup done by a makeup artist I had been using forever, for years. I had first used her for a work event, and then I would just use her for date nights all the time. So I was comfortable with her, and I was like, surely I'm going to use her for my wedding. So she did my makeup for the wedding, and I just remember walking down the aisle, and you know your spouse, so I just remember how he was looking at me like, I do not like your makeup. And so, you know, it wasn't as like devastating as that may sound, because he still loves me clearly and thought I looked beautiful. But we did have the conversation, and like I said, I know him, so I just could tell that he was just looking at me like, okay. So I, in hindsight, definitely should have taken up an opportunity to just have a trial, makeup trial with the makeup artist, so that I can come home, maybe get it done for a date night or whatever, but allow for my husband to be able to see, you know, this is the look, and just kind of subtly ask, so do you like my outfit? Or, you know, what do you think about my makeup today? Because you want to make sure that, you know, the person, the only other important person in the room for this event is going to really appreciate the look that you have. So, and that's not to say he hasn't liked her work in the past, but you do know, or you should know and be aware that oftentimes makeup artists will go much heavier for an event like a wedding, because they're thinking about photography and also the longevity of your makeup throughout this very long day. And so it's very likely she put on, you know, a heavier amount of everything, knowing that this is my wedding day. And so I definitely would encourage you to do a makeup trial for your specific wedding day ahead of time, and make sure that your spouse to be seasoned so that you kind of get that stamp of approval before the day. And it's very similar to even like your food tasting. Because we were getting married at a hotel, it was all a part of their process in the package. So we had both a cake tasting and also a food tasting. And our food was fire. Everyone loved our food, from the appetizers to the entree. The cake was amazing. I mean, it was fantastic. And so just like you don't skip out on those tastings, opportunities, do not skip out on an opportunity to sample or test out your other vendors that you'll be working with. So again, do not skip out on those trials. Number 4 on our list is to think about the pictures. So when I say think about your pictures, I'm saying to take time to think about the type of poses that you want, and also think about the individuals that you want to make sure are captured in your pictures. So I'm speaking of for your bridal party. There may be, some really fun poses that you want for all of your bridal party. Maybe your bridesmaids are doing one thing and your groomsmen are doing something different, and they're interacting in pictures some type of way. Whatever that is, I would definitely encourage you to just get some inspiration and have it on your phone somewhere, so that you have it saved. You can also share it with your photographer so that they are also reminded of some of these looks that you want. But I also, going back to our earlier tip of when you're thinking about your bridal party, you also want to assign those things to your bridal party as well, so that they're aware of what you're trying to accomplish. It'll help move things forward quickly, and they can also help to make sure that you all get into formation and get this snapshot that you're looking for. So definitely start thinking about that ahead of time, because oftentimes your photographers are just really focused on actually snapping the pictures. They may not be that skilled in like helping you to pose. And so you kind of already want to come with a game plan, because you may have a photographer like mine. They don't really know how to help you like put your hand on your hip here, or cover this or cover that. So you really want to think about that ahead of time, share it with them, share it with your bridal party, so that they also help you to remember the things that you're trying to capture in your photos. And then also you want to think about if there are, maybe both sets of your parents are still alive, and you want to make sure that you get a picture where it's just the bride with her parents and the groom with his parents, and then the bride and groom with all the parents, and maybe with your siblings and parents, or whatever that looks like. Or if you have children and you want them in the pictures, or maybe it's your favorite boss who came to your wedding or whatever. So whoever are these important individuals that you want to make sure that you capture a picture with them, you just kind of want to have a list of that. You can add that on your phone as well. But again, this is something that you should also make sure that your maid of honor, your bridal party are aware of, so they'll help get things moving along. I remember on my wedding day, again, the one individual for my bridal party who really stepped up and really was wearing the hat of maid of honor, although that wasn't her official title. She, toward the end of the evening during our reception, I remember the photographer came over to me, and I happened to be talking with this person in my bridal party, and the photographer asked, okay, well, we're about to wrap up. Are there any other pictures that you'd like? And this one person in the bridal party said, oh yeah, I see your aunt over here. Let's make sure we just get a couple more pictures with her. And I'm so grateful that she did that, because there will be individuals when you're looking back who are probably no longer here with us, and you'll be able to cherish these moments and saying, I have these pictures with these important individuals on this important day that I can always look back at and really just cherish the moments. And so again, you definitely want to make sure you're thinking of these individuals and that you get pictures with important people on this important day. Number 5 on the list is do not skip out on a videographer. Again, I love pictures, and I also was thinking about a videographer from the very beginning, because I actually have my favorite uncle did a lot of videography growing up, and so I have so many memories on video, and so that was something I was always thinking about that is equally as important as a photographer. And so I am grateful that I have, these moments not only captured in these still shots with a photographer, but I also have a video, so I can see things in action. I can be reminded of the actual day exactly the way it was. And so I'm so grateful that I did not skip out on that, especially when I think about the fact, again, to my earlier point, where there will be individuals who have passed on, who are no longer here, and you can really, in a video and your pictures, obviously, just kind of relive and re-experience how it was when they were here and how excited they were for you in your day. As I mentioned, both my parents and my husband's parents were thankfully alive and well and able to participate and be a part of our wedding. But both of our fathers have passed on a few years after we got married. So we can see them in our video and our pictures. They're interacting and walking me down the aisle and, you know, just being a part of our special day. And so I definitely would encourage you to think both about a really good and strong photographer, but also a videographer as well. Because even, you know, when thinking about our parents, both of our parents have been married over 50 years. And so it really was meaningful to us to have them a part of our day, but then also to be able to see them in both our photos, but also in the videos. It's just something we'll cherish forever. And so I definitely encourage you to think about putting in a budget both for a really strong photographer and a videographer. And then also, as you're growing your family, you know, when you have babies, and your children will be able to not only see the pictures, but they'll also get to experience the video to really see their parents experience this amazing day, and also see, you know, their grandparents and, you know, aunts and uncles and cousins and things in action as well. So it's definitely, I would say, really well worth your money. 6 on the list is your guest list. So when you're thinking about your guest list, this can be very stressful because you're thinking, you know, you really want to make sure that you have the right people who are important to you, a part of this important day. But one thing that I can say in hindsight, because I spent a lot of time thinking about our guest list, that was one of the reasons, like I mentioned, we didn't have our wedding at. So again, when you're thinking about your guest list, this is something that is such a pain point for so many people, because you want to invite everyone, but then you're thinking of how expensive it is to invite everyone. And so I would really recommend that, well, first of all, at first I was going to recommend really think about your guest list, go through the process with your significant other to really think about the individuals, the key individuals that you want to share this special moment with. But then in hindsight, I'm thinking invite everyone that you want to invite if you can afford it. And the reason I say that is because there will be so many people who do not show up, especially if you're having a destination wedding. So in my situation, we had about 120 individuals that shared in our day and came to our wedding, but there were about 60 individuals that did not show up. So we are from the San Francisco Bay Area. Our wedding, you could call a destination wedding because it was in Monterey. And Monterey is about a 2-hour drive from San Francisco. So for some, that's a bit of a drive. And so, you know, there were just some individuals that did not show up. And there were even individuals that RSVP'd the week of. Maybe they originally said they weren't able to come, and then they reached out the week of and asked, is it too late? Can we be added? And so I really did go back and forth with the venue and saying, I'm so sorry, can I add an additional few, you know, to the list at the last minute? And so they really were flexible with me. But what happened was there were individuals that did not show up, even some that RSVP'd at the very last minute. And so we still were on the hook to pay for those 60-ish individuals that did not show up. So let's do the math. If we're thinking that it is going to be roughly $80, $80 to $140, let's just say that when you're thinking of everything. $140 times 60. Get your calculator out. Times 60. This is what you're still going to be on the hook for if you have people who do not show up. And so that is the reason why my recommendation in hindsight is to just invite whomever wants to come at this point, because there will be individuals that do not show up. I even had moments that were very challenging in that my mom, I was her first child to be married, and because my older brother has not been married just yet. And so she was excited. And so, you know, what people say is true. It's your marriage, but it's your mom's wedding, right? And so my mom wanted to invite people she used to work with. She's retired, but she wanted to invite people she used to work with because obviously, you know, she's been talking about her children all these years. And so now one of her children are getting married, and so she wants them to come to the wedding. And I really was fighting her on that, like, Mom, I don't even remember this person. And no, like, we need to get a handle of this guest list. But in hindsight, we should have just invited whomever Mom wanted to, you know, and been done with it, because there were 60 empty seats of people who did not show up. And so that's kind of my recommendation, to just go over, you know, with your guest list, because there will certainly be people that are unable to attend for whatever reason. So think about that guest list a little more. Number 7, be sure to have a budget, because things will add up quickly and things will get out of hand quickly. Going back to number 6, when we're thinking about your guest list, again, we have that number of 60 people who did not show up. That money could have gone towards something else. It could have gone toward your videographer. It could have gone toward fabulous photographer, or an upgraded seats at your venue. You know, all these things really add up, or it could have even gone toward your honeymoon. So definitely be sure to budget, because again, things will add up. If you're blessed enough to have parents that are going to be contributing to the majority of your ceremony, like I had with my mom pretty much funding everything, or the majority of everything. And, you know, but not everyone has that. But even if you do have your parents that are going to really take care of your wedding, you don't want to just kind of drain your parents either, right? So you really just want to have a plan about, you know, your expenses. And so, for instance, the flowers, as I mentioned, my favorite flower is a particular orchid, which was out of season. And so that was going to be a little bit more costly than it would have been. And so, you know, just thinking about what these prices would be, could be, and should be will really help you as you're really planning out your big day. Because for me, for instance, again, going back to the flowers, one may have thought, you know, oh, well, if push comes to shove, I can always just get some artificial flowers. But, you know, you may not be thinking about the fact that maybe your venue that you're going with does not allow artificial flowers. And, you know, maybe the flowers that you really want are out of season. And so all of those things are important for you to really consider. And so that's why it's important to have a budget in mind. When thinking about our bouquets, for instance, because the flowers that we wanted were out of season, I just decided to have them condense the bouquet so they were much smaller than originally planned because of how costly they were. And so I will insert kind of total cost here of the flowers, because my favorite color is fuchsia, My favorite orchid is fuchsia, and my husband's favorite color is red, and so those were our primary colors, red and fuchsia. And so we had red roses and we had the orchids, but originally there were, you know, a nicer, healthier size bouquet for all of the bridal party, but the florist had the suggestion based on budget to condense it a little more. But they were all beautiful still, but we had to kind of bring them down because things were getting out of hand with the cost for flowers. And so definitely these are things you want to be thinking about when you're planning your special day. Number 8 on our list, accept you will lose friends. This is a odd tip, but I think it's a real tip for you to think about and also be prepared for. There will be many situations where people will be frustrated or disappointed or take things personally that they are not a part of your wedding, they were not invited to your wedding, they did not have a specific role in your wedding. And so there will be many moments where people are frustrated and relationships are challenged. And so you have to be prepared for that, especially as the couple. You won't have a lot of energy to give to a lot of these conversations to repair feelings about whatever. Hopefully you are surrounded around people that are very encouraging and patient and have compassion and are understanding. But the reality is there's going to be someone, whether it's a coworker or family or, you know, whomever it is, friends, that is going to feel slighted in some way because of your day. And it could sadly be, again, because they thought they would have a different role. They thought they would be your best man or your maid of honor, or they thought they were going to have the task of giving the speech at the actual reception, or they're jealous of your happiness. You know, that's something very real to think about too. Not everyone is going to be happy for you in your moment. And so be prepared that you will have challenges like that. And so I don't want to scare anyone, but I certainly just wanted to have a real talk tip in this list so that you are not completely blindsided because you know, this is just one of those life events that has a little bit of friction at times for people. So wanted to prepare you for that. Number 9 on our list. We're almost getting to the end here. Number 9, please expect and understand that you will have bumps in the road. This will not be a perfect, flawless day. There will be things that break down. There will be, as I mentioned in number 8, there will be challenges in relationships and things, but there will just be things that will break down and won't go as planned. So I don't want the couple to get so stressed that your day is ruined by, you know, things just breaking down and mishaps happening, because that is just a part of life. No matter how much you prepare, things will happen. I can give you a couple examples that I thankfully did not hear about until after the wedding. So my mom and my aunt, which is my mom's sister, who is like a second mom to me, they were running late. And so we could not start until they arrived because they got a little turned around. Again, we had a bit of a destination wedding, and so none of us are from that area to really know, you know, the ins and outs. And so they were running late, and so that delayed our start time for the wedding. And that was just something that, you know, if I were to have known or gotten upset or frustrated about this, it wasn't something I can control. And so I didn't have my cell phone. It wasn't anything I can control or fix. And so, you know, it doesn't really benefit anyone to like get worked up about things that they can't control. And so that was one thing that happened. My uncle, who is my mom's brother, who's been like a second dad to me, he also walked me down the aisle along with my dad. His suit, he forgot in at the house in San Francisco. 2-hour drive, right? And so they had to scramble to find a place to purchase a suit in the area on the day of. And so that was also, and again, this was a person that was a key part of the ceremony because he would be walking me down the aisle along with my dad. And so that was another thing that happened. He brought his suit. He's recently moved out of state to Louisiana. So he traveled here, had his suit with him, but left it in San Francisco, where we're all from, at the house there. And so that was a last minute hiccup. And then one of my cousins, who was a part of my bridal party, her weight fluctuates, and her bridal dress, there was a tear or it didn't fit or something happened like that. And so one of my aunts, who's a seamstress, this is the morning of apparently, she had to sew in a full piece of fabric to essentially extend the dress in order for her to wear it. And so that's another hiccup that happened on the day of. So there's just many instances of things that I learned of that following weekend when all the family was just kind of spending time together. People would kind of give me updates on things that were happening. So yeah, so there were many things that kind of broke down or that happened on the day of. But again, I mean, you cannot, these are things I couldn't control, and so you just kind of have to go with the flow and not allow for yourself to get worked up about things that you can't control. But things will break down, things will happen, and oh, one other thing, as I mentioned earlier, the videographer had a drone and wanted to capture above the water, above, you know, the seating area, you know, as part of the video. But there were 2 patrons at the outdoors restaurant that was not compassionate or showed any grace for a wedding that's happening apparently, and we're complaining about the drone hovering over the restaurant area and demanded that the videographer stop using it. And so that was something else that happened. So, but apparently I didn't even recognize that this person in the bridal party who I had mentioned really stepped up in a lot of ways. She went and handled that whole conversation with management and with the restaurant. And again, that was something I didn't even know the videographer was using a drone. So again, these are things that I was aware of, and still we were able to just kind of get through the day. And then even the example I gave you of the DJ and that experience with the DJ was challenging. So things will just happen, things will break down, and we'll just move forward. 10 on the list, our last tip for planning your wedding, is to be present in the moment. Do the best you can, again, to not get yourself worked up, not to get yourself stressed or have a bunch of anxiety about things, because this is likely going to be your one and only wedding, and so you want to be present. This day will be a long day, but it will also seem like it goes by so quick, and so you definitely want to make sure that you're present in that moment. I know that's easier said than done. I'm definitely a person that sometimes can get really anxious about, you know, things, wanting them to go a certain way. But I'm so grateful that my wedding day, I just remember it being a bit of a blur, which you'll often hear, especially brides, but certainly some grooms will also say that it just went by so quick, but it will just feel like a blur. So because you're doing all these things leading up to the big day, so you want to make sure that you are as present as possible in the day, again, to really enjoy all these people who love you and support you, who've come out to be a part of your special day. So you want to make sure that you are not getting so drunk that you don't remember the day. You want to make sure that you eat a little bit of something. Normally your wedding party, someone, your coordinator, someone will make a plate for you so you do have something to eat. So just snack a little bit because you don't want to get a headache or faint or, have anything happen as far as your health and well-being because you haven't eaten all day. So make sure that you're eating a little something, that you're not getting too wasted, because you want to be, again, present, because some of the people who are here will, maybe move away or pass away, and so you want to make sure that you're really spending the time connecting with everyone who loves you and who made a priority to celebrate this day with you. So there may be, again, things that break down and things that aren't going right. Again, going back to the DJ, I could have allowed that to frustrate me and upset me, but I just chose to be present in this day. It's not the end of the world. So again, you just want to make sure that you are present in the moment, enjoying your day, not allowing yourself to be overly stressed about anything really. I mean, the main thing you want to focus on is your significant other, the love you share, the individuals that are there celebrating you, and anything else is secondary and is not something you need to worry about on your special day. And so those are all the things that I want to encourage all of you as you are preparing for your big day or the big day of someone whom you love. So I hope this list is helpful. When I think back at going on 8 years ago now when I got married, these are things that I wish someone would have told me. And I honestly can think of a few more. So if this video is helpful and you'd like for me to do a part 2, just let me know and I'm happy to do so. But I hope that this is at least a starting point for those of you who are getting ready to celebrate yourself or someone else. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any other thoughts or if you've had similar experience or different experiences when you have been a part of a wedding. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next video.